They are water. Ever since my species can remember, we were always regarded by the whole universe as the seers, due to our ability to determine a living being's potential. We were always welcomed on every known planet and paid very well for our services. Normally, we are hired to make a reading on newborns. Depending on the reading, different species would react differently. The warrior races, depending on the reading, would spoil the child in riches and fame or outcast him to live with the lower ranks. Older and wiser races would still want the child to reach its full potential, regardless of the reading, but they would still treat the children different depending on its potential. A reading is very demanding on one's physical and mental psyche, so it is not recommended to be done more than once every month. This being one of the reasons why my species' unique ability is so sought out and expensive. Depending on each species, readings will differ. When the Aslaki first made contact, the first reading showed a mountain, which depending on its height would end up being the lifespan, and on top of it a great Aslaki mythical beast roaring with all its might. The beast ended up representing the Aslaki's individual importance and future characteristics. Determining what's on the mountain summit would determine the individual's worth. Small, common creatures means insignificant life, while rare and even mythical ones would mean a great and promising future. For the simple-minded warriors, the Hurska, a reading is easier to interpret. Land filled with dead bodies, the land size, number of dead and bloodied bodies would come to represent the child's future as a warrior. When the artists of Vuana got their first reading done, I was able to see a sky full of color, a sort of rainbow that I could also hear, taste, and feel. As more reading occurred, it was discovered that the more diverse and beautiful the array of colors were, the more creative, inspiring, and valued their works of art would be. All of the readings my kind does are noted and made public to the whole galaxy, so most people know whom to befriend, look up to, avoid, and ignore. Even if each species is special and unique, some things are constant between all of them. Once a reading has been done, regardless when the second one would be, the exact same scene will be experienced, and probably the most important one, the readings are always right. Because of this, most of the galaxy is in perpetual state of peace. It's very easy to predict the outcome of the battle if the readings have been done on the leaders and are made public. Great philosophical debates regarding free will and one's place in the river of life have been the norm, but nothing ever came out of them. Readings were and still are the norm. Each life is decided from the first few minutes of his birth. As one of the few members of the official diplomatic team, I have been called upon to do the first readings on a newly discovered species. First contacts are rare occurrences, and the first read must be done with the utmost care. The interpretation must also be considered and analyzed for long periods of time, so that they are done in a correct fashion and no misinterpretations can occur. At first glance, they seemed really strange-looking. Even the way they walked gave me an unnerving feeling. It seemed like they were about to fall with each passing step. They had a pair of appendages to walk, another to manipulate their environment, one pair of eyes which seemed to always focus on one thing at a time. They were probably not very smart. After the appropriate translation mechanism had been put in motion and we could converse to one another, I continued the first contact procedure and offered to make the diplomat's reading. It was at least strange when he said he doesn't require it. I considered them being new to the galactic stage and not knowing how everything works might cause them to be ignorant. He only accepted to be read when I told him it is traditional for every first contact to make a reading of the diplomat so that we can understand the new species better. And so I touched him, and for the first few seconds, I couldn't feel anything. But afterwards, I saw a never-ending silent sea stretching as far as I could see, and in the middle of it all, I saw the diplomat sitting in a strange position I later came to find represented a calming and relaxing technique called meditation. As I finished the reading, I was a bit curious what could this represent. Of course, I needed to make further readings to see what they represent. With each of the first contact party, I found exactly the same reading. They were all the same, a never-ending sea and them in the middle of it meditating. This was a first for all of the galaxy since no reading is identical to that degree and for that many individuals. News about the humans and their reading spread in the entire known universe. Some called them freaks, others were intrigued, but most presumed them weak since they were all the same and no individual was special. I was hesitant to place a conclusion until more information surfaced. It all came clear to me a couple of days later when the Hurska attacked one of the human outposts, claiming them weak. The diplomat I had first met explained what had happened. His whole family had lived on that outpost. He told me he resigned as diplomat and returned to his old military career and will go to war. As he was leaving the vessel, I waited for him to pay my respects for his family and wish him good luck in the upcoming war. He thanked me, and before leaving and extended his manipulator towards me, I had learned about this tradition, so I extended one of my own appendages to his. When he touched me, I felt it. A powerful impulse to make another reading. For whatever reason, I went for it, and what I saw left me shivering. The sea was silent no more, instead a storm like I had never witnessed before. And in the middle of it all, I saw the diplomat again. This time he was not sitting. He was standing straight, looking at me. What I saw in his eyes made me understand that this man, no, the entire human species, have the power to change the fate of the universe. I pity the fools who sail on a calm sea thinking they can conquer it.